Listen, I think I speak for many anime fans this season. These damn dirty Isekai can't keep getting away with this. I'm tired, boss. I need shows to not be at the very least decent, so I can drop them or not start them. But this was one of the handful of Isekai that I initially was like, I might give that a go. And then how schedules fall, I was like, you know what, I'll get to it when I get to it. I had a few people ask me to check this one out, but surprisingly, I didn't have a lot of people ask me to watch Aristocrat. And I think it's just because a lot of shit airs on the weekend. But unironically, and I know I'm going to sound like a broken record, this show is already impressing me with just 3 episodes that I've watched. I think up to episode 6 out right now, 7 comes out on Sunday. I will be caught up by the time the new episode comes out, but I needed to give a first impressions because these shows shouldn't be this good. The production should not be this good. The characters should not be this good. And you feel like the boy who's crying wolf. But unironically, a majority of the Isekai fantasy shows with some of the most generic names out there are slapping it and just bringing out banger after banger. I think the first episode of this show specifically is one of the strongest first episodes, period, out of any anime that aired this season. 100%. I've only been introduced to a couple of the characters. We have Ritz and Charlotte in terms of new retainers that joined our boy Ars. But this show, it's almost like how I imagine it. All the isekai tropes and cliches, predictable plot points and elements. The main character Ars put a blindfold on and he's skipping and running through a minefield without setting off anything and somehow crafting something that doesn't have me comparing it to anything. It feels like Reincarnated as an Aristocrat. The MC ain't no Truck-kun. He just had a heart attack, and from what I can gather, he seems like a pretty normal dude who was pretty wholesome, wasn't perverted, was just a normal guy. Okay, that's already like, alright, let's see where we go. Okay, we know the dad and everyone's gonna die in like 12 years time, and he's gonna take over. They start the show off like that, and then we rewind to his birth, and you know, the kid's clothed up, which you can't say for all the Reincarnation shows this season, but the fact that he's a genuinely wholesome guy. The production is fantastic, but it's the way he goes about trying to build the most powerful army and group of people because he has the ability to appraise people, see their stats, see their potential, and as the future lord to this kingdom, he wants to make sure that he can build a future where everyone can be safe. It doesn't feel like there's tropes and cliches. And I know you might want to say, oh, but it's an Isekai, it's a reincarnation, it has to. It's like, no, but honestly, it doesn't. You gotta watch this one, I'm being honest. I mean, if you try the first episode and you don't like it, sure, go ahead, drop it. That's what I say, don't waste your time. But frick, man, I don't got enough time to watch the shit I'm watching, and I'm adding more to it, but I can't help it, the show's too good. Now, of course, I have full live reactions to these episodes over on Patreon. We're going to be getting caught up to all the released episodes, and we will be continuing watching over there if you're interested exclusively, but if this video does well enough and the demand's there, I might try to slot it into the Sunday slot alongside the other few shows I'm doing, because I'm probably going to be moving Yozakura Family to Tuesdays, because I'm going to make Tuesdays my nobody gives a shit about these shows day, but I still like them and want to talk about them, so just let me know. You want more? Be sure to like, comment, all that stuff. If the video does well, and you prove me wrong, because I don't think people are going to care about this one, I will continue it until people don't care. Now, like I said, I'm up to episode 3. I'm going to get caught up, and then if the video does well, we'll talk about episode 7 on Sunday there. But I like this. Like, immediately, I liked the vibe of the kid. He just felt so cute and innocent, but he had this mature mind and head on his shoulders. He was a natural-born prodigy by the looks of it. He can't really pick up a sword or do magic, but the idea of appraisal is, like, the best thing you could have for leadership because you would never be in a situation where your army has shit soldiers. One of the first things we see him do is there's this dude with a spear trying to, like, fight, train, and he's doing horrible, and he's like, oh, he's an archer. I'm not gonna pick up a bow, that's for cowards. And then he does it, and he's like, oh shit, you know, maybe the bow's not too bad after all, because everyone starts praising him. You just get a sense of like, oh, I can understand why appraisal would be so interesting. And it's not like he can just keep it active like at all times. It does drain him, as he says. And the first character we really see him try to recruit is this character Ritz, who is just like this bum on the streets, and no one really likes him because his people are heavily discriminated against, absolutely despised, less than human. And the idea of the dad, I want to say this right now, I think the dad is one of my favorite anime characters of this season. We've seen a little bit of him over these few episodes, but everything I see of him, he seems like a genuinely good dude who is by the books, follows the rules, and understands that just because my son wants to help some people, I can't do it. Like, you know, when he first brings him saying, this is going to be my retainer, he's like, nah. And he's like, yeah, but I know potential. And he's like, sure, you did point out that someone could use a bow, but that could have been a fluke. I'll give him a test. And after the test is all said and done, he recognizes that, damn son, you're actually true. Like, you are going to make a fine lord someday because you can see something in people that other people can. And I love the idea. I think one of the funniest things that happened is that this show does have some humor, but it's not really like it's a slapstick comedy. It's not like it's trying to crack jokes. It's just like, we have Charlotte, right, who is this S-rank mage by the end of episode 3. She's recruited as a retainer. Obviously, we're not just going to have more bums in the house. Like, you know, like, I'm not going to send a woman to the battlefield. Very by the books, makes sense for the time period and culture. And then he's like, okay, Charlotte, shoot the fire. And she does, she's like, yeah, sure. Welcome aboard, my new daughter. It's like, there's something about the guy, because like, he wants to help his son, he wants to do things that are nice for him, but he has a position of power that can't just be like, okay, we're gonna let people, because even if like he didn't completely despise Ritz's like culture and people, at the end of the day, how would it look for arguably the most powerful person in their area to then bring, you know, it would raise eyebrows and it would just cause issues. But the idea that it's like, oh shit, someone actually got a graze on me, which never happens, means that he has potential and we're not just going to turn him away because of how he looks or how he was born, right? It's very, very interesting, and I like the idea that there's so much respect put on not only the father but our MCRs. So when both of them are in agreement with something, people naturally follow. Initially, when our boy brings him into the household, he's given like a bowl of soup, which honestly didn't look like that bad of food, but I love the idea that like the servants and, you know, the butler is like, after you eat, get the hell out. And my boy like scoots on over and says, let's share my meal together. He's my guest. And I'm like, this man is so freaking wholesome and I love him. But it's the hook. It's the hook of an Isekai character who wasn't truck-cooned, wasn't, I saved someone's life. It's just, he had a heart attack. Very mundane way to die, but like, very natural. And from everything that we can see, he was just a normal businessman. Yeah, he liked playing video games. He's like, you know, kids are the future. And like, he wasn't creepy about it. Just like felt like he was the most normal person. So that puts him in this kid's body. He feels like the most normal person you could ask for. And I think the intro hook of knowing that 12 years after his birth, or however long it was, it looks to be that he will now be the lord of the house and all of his retainers and people will be following him. And I really hope this one gets a season 2, because the thing about this is it feels like season 1 will be mostly the setup, and the setup, while fun, I really feel like this is the type of show that's really going to start popping off in a second season. But production's fantastic. The characters, from what I'm seeing, are equally so. I mean, our boy, he goes from super wholesome to I'm going to stab you in the throat because he's tried to scam my master. But you know what? I guess we need a good bodyguard from time to time. Charlotte's introduction was probably my favorite because I really thought it would be very easy for him to just be like, oh, I'm helping you off the street and I do a couple of things and you just want to work with me. And she's pretty much like, I'm not gonna make you feel good about yourself because you want to help someone off the street, or, you know, it's just like, it makes sense from her point of view and the way they ultimately do it. But because here's the thing, unfortunately, we're in a culture where it's like, slave traders ain't gonna go away. So after we kill and beat down a good majority of this dude who tried to kidnap Charlotte and sell her off to a high bidder, we ended up purchasing her, but then just immediately she became a retainer rather than a slave. Like, they handled touchy subject matter once again in a way that just made sense for their world without, I guess, corrupting ours as a character. The show is legitimately great, unironically, and I know I say that about a lot of shows this season, but that's just how good of an anime season this is. I'm going to be caught up fully by hopefully Sunday, and if you want to see more videos on this, do let me know, because if it does well enough, I will find a way to cover this one as well. But thoughts down below on what you thought. I'm just doing my first impressions here, but I'm really enjoying this one. But let me know what you're feeling down below. Leave a like if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new around here, of course, ring that bell so you know if I want to upload more. And like I mentioned, we're going to have full live reactions no matter what over on Patreon, and hey, while you're over there, I'll also give you a video shout out. So today we got Simulcrum, Joe Gaming Axe, Troy, Rikamatsu, and Jeffo369. So I appreciate the support, everyone. Please take care and have a good one.